Justin Staley, and of course the dulcet tones also of Mr. Brad Milo. Welcome back, Brad.
Thanks, guys. How's it been going? I haven't been available because of my dumb work schedule.
Dumb work.
Yeah.
Things have been shambling along without you.
Oh, they've sounded great. I've only got 2 free nights during the week now because I work days into evenings, and I've been either recording my show or visiting with my children on those 2 nights. So it's kind of, and tonight obviously I'm not doing either, so I'm glad to be able to be back.
It's nice to know they're little Milos that are just crying for their father right now.
Well, they're not
They're
that
not so little.
anymore.
I was going to say they're not so little anymore.
No,
Fair
almost 15 and 19. So.
All right.
I was going to say
Anyways.
your oldest daughter's in college now, isn't she?
Yes, sir, she is.
Brad, can I ask what's been your thoughts on the kind of first few episodes of this half of the season so far since we haven't heard from you in a while?
We're 3 in now, right?
Yeah, so like the first 2 episodes, I guess.
I've enjoyed them. They were obviously very different episodes. The one with Carl and Rick and Michonne, I liked it. I think we all kind of expected certain things to happen in that episode. At least one particular scene, came directly out of the comic, and obviously that was neat seeing that. But then, having read it, it kind of took away from some of the tension. But I was glad they were able to put that in. I've enjoyed them, all of them, all 3. This season has been really great. I think Scott Gimple's doing a great job. As always, I have nitpicks in each and every episode, but for the most part, I still look forward to seeing the show. Unfortunately, I work till 9 p.m. Central on Sunday nights, and that's when the show ends. So I have to go home and queue up the DVR and watch it that way. But I've been enjoying it a lot.
I'm actually that same way. I wait for my friend to get off work, and then a bunch of us watch together, and it always it's always annoying because I have to avoid Twitter and Facebook for hours since I'm on the West Coast. So I have to avoid the East Coast feed and then the West Coast feed, and then wait and finally watch it.
Well, you guys want to get on with the going over the episode? I don't think we have any major news to cover this week, do we?
Did y'all mention last week that it had been picked up for season 5?
I don't think we brought it up, but I think it's kind of a given, I guess, for the watching at this point. Yeah.
Well, the only reason I mentioned it is because during this last episode that we're about to talk about, they had that little contest that they run, where you find the keywords, and it mentioned visiting the season the season premiere of season 5 or whatever, watching the first episode. So I just thought if y'all hadn't announced it, I think we always hope it's going to have a next season, but you just never know. But I think it's awesome that it'll be back next season.
Well, I mean, it's pretty much a money printing machine for AMC. Every season's ratings, unlike every other show on TV, every season's ratings have been higher than the season before. It just keeps snowballing. I mean, we talked about this before. Most shows, premiere high, and then start to lose viewers by attrition. But Walking Dead is just exactly the opposite. So I mean, while it's cool to know for sure there will be a season 5, I mean, it's kind of like Aaron says. I never thought there was a chance there wouldn't be.
Yeah, and sooner or later though, it's going to get closer and closer to. I mean, nobody thought Breaking Bad would end after the 5th season or whatever. They didn't want it to end, and they probably could have made another season out of it. So what I'm saying is, sooner or later, it's going to be more and more possible that we won't be as sure that there'll be another season. But I think we're good for a couple more at least.
Well, interesting too. I mean, in the comics, like Eugene and Abraham and Rosita didn't show up till probably trade number 8 or 9, maybe. I know it was after all the prison stuff.
It was a little while after, yeah.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, if they keep on this pace, I mean, they're going to end up catching up to the comic storyline eventually. But if they, I mean, it would probably be maybe another couple seasons before we start seeing Negan and all those guys.
I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Negan at the end of this season.
Wow.
Honestly, do I want that to happen?
No,
probably not, because like you said, there's so much good stuff in the comic that they still have room to explore. Albeit, with a different cast of characters and in a slightly different situation. Like, and we'll talk about this, but the 3 new characters at the end of this episode, they joined the comic in a very different dynamic. The group was different, the situation was different. So there's still a lot of other type of stories and stuff that they can get to.
Well, I mean, plus there are a lot of plot elements that weren't in the comic. This whole Terminus thing, those who arrive survive or whatever. And that wasn't from the comic at all. And it's a whole new storyline that we haven't even seen before, which is awesome, I think.
It seems like it's something like 28 days later.
Almost.
I'm wondering if maybe it's different in name only, and it'll be familiar to us once they get into it, without spoiling anything for the.
There are certain plot lines, I guess, that this could tie to.
Sure.
To put it lightly. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
So,
I mean, I think that's what keeps me coming back to the show is the mix of both the familiar from the comic and the new twist on situations and characters. So
I look forward. Like I said, I don't want to see Negan right away. Eventually, I do. It would not surprise me if they jumped the gun and brought him in, because he's such an interesting character and he's so different than anything we'd seen before. But I do look forward to the day when they do catch up, so they're forced to be completely independent from the comic. That way, we will know nothing.
It'll be interesting too. We have a lot of new comic-based or comic-themed shows coming up. I mean, you got the Preacher series, which is optioned by Seth Rogen and Evan Goldman, with the producer from Breaking Bad for AMC. You got the Gotham series that's in development. All these different things. It'll be interesting to see whether they take the Walking Dead model of using a little from column A from the comic and a little column B from original storyline and mixing them up, or whether slightly continuity or not. I think it's interesting to me anyway.
It's a good time to be a geek.
Hell yeah, brother.
Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and jump into the episode.
All right, I guess I'll take the reins from here in terms of going into the episode. This is episode 11 of season 4. Claimed. It was directed by Seth Mann and written by Nicole Beatty and Seth Hoffman. We pick up with this episode right where the previous episode left off. We have Tara sitting in the back of the truck bed of Abraham's big military vehicle. We see her writing the street names and landmarks on her hand as the truck drives past them. They stop a car pileup that blocks the road, which tracks 3 nearby walkers that start beating at the back of the truck. As Tara prepares to shoot them, Abraham orders her to stop and instead gleefully puts them down with a crowbar. Tara observes this is the first time she sees someone smiling when killing walkers and questions Abraham about it. And Abraham explains it's because I'm the luckiest guy in the world.
I thought that was an interesting observation, and I was trying to figure out. I didn't know what she was getting at when I can't remember how she worded it, but she was like, so she said something like, "I saw that," or that was odd what you just did. And and just the fact that it probably is the first time we've seen on the show somebody taking joy in killing a walker instead of freaking out about it. I thought that was a very interesting way to look at it.
Yeah, we've seen people. We've seen people take them out in fear. We've seen people take them out in anger and frustration and just absolute end of their rope, on fatigue. But I think you're right. I think this is the first time we have seen someone just gleefully working their way through. I mean, I guess the closest would be Michonne, but she's more methodical. It just seems like more clockwork with her.
It's more like she takes them out like they're weeds.
Yeah, exactly.
I think Merle might have this kind of
not
necessarily gotten off on the idea, but I mean he's expressed how simple it became for him once he had his kind of bayonet arm.
Right.
Why do you think Abraham called himself the luckiest guy in the world? Is it because he's still alive? Is it because he thinks he's involved in something meaningful? In other words, getting Eugene to Washington? Or why do you think he said that? Because I honestly don't know why he would have said that.
I think that plays into it, that last point of where he believes himself to be involved in a mission that could change the world, and he's adding obviously a level of sarcasm to it. But he finds himself in a position where he's suited to be doing something that's basically horrible, where he has to kill off people that are already dead all around him. And because he's so physically suited to doing the task, and he stepped up to take on this idea of saving the world, that he's just that's what I am now, and I guess that makes me the luckiest guy in the world. That's kind of
plus he's a close quarters combat specialist. I mean, this is what he's trained to do. This is what he's born to do. This is what he does. So being able to constantly do it 24/7 all the time, the walkers is kind of him finding his calling in a way.
I want to get this out of the way a little bit, just because it'll come up again. But I've been talking about my thoughts on Tara and Alana Masterson as Tara over the past several episodes that have involved her, and I haven't always been as warm to her. I can say she's improving for me in this episode. I'm starting to get past it. So.
Yeah, I don't have the distaste for her that you do, but I just kind of find her uninteresting. You know what I mean? It's not that I don't like her. It's just I'm kind of bored by her already, and we just met her.
Yeah, and I got to say that I like this kind of the kind of interaction she has with Abraham throughout this episode, and it's working to turn me around on her character.
That girl's not in the comic, right?
Do not believe so.
No, I don't think so.
I don't either. Where
she's not. She's from the she is in the Walking Dead Rise of the Governor novels.
Oh, okay. I've read the first two. I have not read the first part of the last chapter.
She's in the Rise of the Governor novel. I guess that's where she stems from. Yeah.
All right. So she is. If she's in that book, then she's canon.
I guess so.
Because I'm pretty sure that Kirkman has said those novels are canon.
I believe that's how we're supposed to take them. Yeah. I haven't read them either. I read the first part of the first novel. I just haven't got deep into them. So.
I read the first one. We can talk about this, or we can just not. But I'll just say I read the first one and wasn't real happy with it. And I read the second one because I like stories and continuity, and I'm a little OCD, so I liked it better than the first book.
No, there you go.
Yeah, so let's hope it gets better. All right, let's continue.
Okay. So following that cold open, meanwhile, Michonne and Carl enjoy cereal for breakfast while Carl ribs Michonne on her new shirt. Michonne remarks that she'd love to have soy milk, and Carl recalls his own dislike for it. He'd rather drink Judith's formula than soy milk. This reminder of his lost sister upsets him, and he leaves the table later on.
Can I stop you?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
Doesn't that cereal have to be like really, really stale?
If you're hungry enough, who cares?
I guess.
You know what? In our house, because we live on a farm, we keep everything in Tupperware containers. So
it could have been like recently unsealed too. They could have
done
unopened cereal. But I mean, yeah, it's a year-old granola or whatever they're eating. So.
I love all the this episode. It reminds me of the the episode with Morgan. Clear, thank you. Where we get these great moments with Michonne and Carl, playing off each other, kind of acting together and kind of feeling each other out. And this episode really, kind of showcased that all through. And I really like these moments. This part of the storyline.
I completely agree. I think these two have great chemistry together, and it's amazing how like a character like Carl, who most people found annoying, and a character like Michonne, who a lot of us were kind of left wanting more, given that she was just standing around silently last season for a good portion of it. They've now become maybe the best emotional center of the series at this point, where we are next to Rick and Carl, and maybe I don't know who else. Like Glenn, I can't say Glenn and Maggie really like make me think, man, Walking Dead's so emotionally important because of those two. But like Carl and Michonne together, they just have a great relationship, and it really plays well here.
Chris, I mean, they're coming from so many different places, and I agree with what you're saying. I mean, it's so nice to see Denai be able to like act, and talk and emote, and like really let us know a little bit more about Michonne instead of just like you said all through season 3, just scowling at everything.
Yeah, and we'll get to more of what she does later on. But I mean, yeah, it's a good episode for both of these characters. So. Okay. Rick thanks Michonne for making Carl laugh because he can't be both Carl's father and his best friend. So Michonne's friendship is important to Carl. Michonne tells Rick that she and Carl are going to go on a supply run. Rick wants to go as well, but Michonne tells him he needs to rest. Instead, Rick gives Carl his gold python, and Michonne and Carl say they'll return by midday. Rick wanders upstairs to the master bedroom and falls asleep.
Is this the first time he's passed off the python to Carl?
I think so. That's what I was wondering too. I think so, right?
Because I mean, that's kind of symbolic. I mean, obviously, I mean, his gun is his signature gun to the entire series. That he's trusting Carl with it. I mean, for me, it was huge. I mean, unless I'm misremembering that he saw him use it before.
I don't remember him ever using it.
Yeah, that gun. I mean, he's given him other guns.
He's obviously had others, but I think that's the first time we've seen him with that huge silver gun.
I mean, when the show started, the gun was bigger than him, so he's certainly grown into it, just like that hat.
They kind of got a Walt from Lost thing going on here with Carl, don't you think?
Yeah, except that they've planned it out, so the show makes sense as opposed to, we got to figure out what to do because we forgot the kid's age.
Yeah.
All right, so moving on. After clearing their first house, Michonne tries to cheer up Carl by use of crazy cheese. An offhand remark that she is better with younger children prompts Carl to ask her about her past. Michonne reveals that she had a young son, confirming that she had a young son for finally, that we've all kind of known it, but now we really know it, before the apocalypse, which surprises Carl. As he presses her for more details, she promises to reveal more as they clear a second neighbor's house.
Like I said, these character moments with Carl and Michonne are great. I mean, I'm so glad we got to see, have all this in this episode. It's made it one of my favorite of the season so far.
Anything bad?
I was going to say something mean about Carl, but I decided not to.
Okay. I'll just stick with the image of Michonne having crazy cheese in her mouth and like making Walker noises at him, and that's like that's kind of nasty.
Far cry from the Michonne that we've seen before in the show.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll just say it. I haven't been able to get over Carl being a little bitch to his dad in that one episode. I understand his frustration and his helplessness that he's feeling and his anger, but he was not nice to his dad.
Now, do you see that as an issue from like a writer standpoint or from a character standpoint? Because if it's a problem from character base, like I can be frustrated too, but like it's like he's a kid, he's annoying. That's
it just bothered me. I didn't like him being mean to his dad. The only reason Carl's alive is because of his dad. And I know that when you're a kid, you say things you regret to your parents. I remember very vividly a conversation I had with my father when I was in high school that I regret to this day. But I still didn't like seeing him like that.
See, I agree with you completely, but I can't fault the show because it seems real to me. It seems like that's something that could transpire from the events that have happened. I don't think like it's
absolutely. It did not seem out of character. I just didn't like that character element. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know exactly. Yeah, again, I agree with you. I certainly like seeing Chandler Riggs kind of stepping up into these more challenging material than just like I'm gonna kill people. I'm annoyed or like that. Like he's grasping at different emotions that come from the place of his mother recently died, his sister maybe died. They're both beat up. They both got forced out of the one place they can call home. All their friends are gone. Like all these different emotions are rolling around in this character's head, and like it comes out in not ways that are the most preferable.
Yeah, like when he said Shane taught me that. Remember Shane? Holy crap! I just wanted to punch him in the gut and give him a swirly. You just don't talk like that to your parents. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree.
Like, oh my gosh,
the same kind of thing happened in this episode when we started like pressing Michonne with all these questions. I literally yelled at the TV. It's like, shut up, Carl, God, leave her alone.
You may think you're a man now, but you're still kids. So just shut up.
I mean, he's obviously working stuff out, like you said, Brad. At that age, your body's so hopped up on all the different chemicals and hormones that you're going through growing up, and he's also grown up in a zombie apocalypse. So he's obviously going to boss some steam in his dad. They're going to patch it up and get back together. It's obvious.
I suppose I could cut him some slack.
I was grounded for a couple weeks and take away his internet.
And pudding. No pudding.
Okay.
Rick is startled by Roush's commotion of men entering the ground floor of the house. One of the strangers pleads for mercy as the larger group porters him. At the sound of footfalls up the stair towards Rick's bedroom, he dives under the bed. Someone named Tony collapses. He walks into the room, he walks around the room, he kind of gets a read on the floor he's on, I guess, and then he just collapses on the bed and falls asleep.
Okay, I want to say something about not only that part, but the whole part when he's dealing with these intruders. I was really, really happy with the way they shot this whole plot point here. You never see their faces for the longest time, and I thought this is great. This lets me know that I'm not going to have to be introduced to a bunch of new characters, so I don't have to stress out about that right now. It doesn't personalize them. It keeps them scary. It keeps them unknown, and I believe that really made it more tense. I think I had white knuckles on occasion watching that episode. I mean, those scenes, and then later we see a little bit one of the guys' faces or whatever. And of course, we see the man in the bathroom. But I think for the most part, that was really a good artistic choice to not show their faces.
I love this
Really
Twilight Zone where Brad and I are in complete agreement on a lot of the points for this episode because
I know. I felt like I walked into the wrong podcast or something. No, Jordan, and you guys are agreeing on everything. What's wrong?
everything you just said is exactly why I like the scene. It's very focused on Rick and his plight to get out of the situation. It doesn't try to introduce anybody else. It just focuses on Rick's struggle to get out of here. And
and we're only seeing what Rick can see,
Exactly.
which really added to it.
and it's super tense.
And now he's disarmed. I mean, he gave his gun away to Carl. He's helpless as well.
I also have to say, Andrew Lincoln's sleep acting just looks fantastic because he seems like a guy that could use a rest. And whenever he needs to put, whenever he gets a chance to sleep, it always works. It just makes you feel like relieved. It's like finally, this man got some sleep.
He may actually be taking a snooze during those scenes.
It's hot in Atlanta. Filming this, zombies everywhere. All right, so we're getting away from that for now. Let's move on to Michonne, who confides in Carl sharing the secret of her son's name, Andre Anthony. She then discovers an undisturbed set of children's rooms. The last room belonging to the youngest child, contains the deceased remains of the family who committed suicide together. Shaken, Michonne slams the door shut, blocks Carl from seeing the room, and then Carl tries to comfort Michonne with the thought that Judith and Andre Anthony aren't having together.
That was a
That was a rough scene.
That was a rough scene. I was gonna say it was a brutal scene. It really was.
It was very eerie too, just the lead up to it, because you get to, the build up is like Carl hands Michonne a painting. It's like this weird painting, like all and she looks back to the room. So she goes into the room. You're like, obviously you're thinking, oh, there could be zombies in here. That could be terrible. She walks into this room. It's like innocent children's playthings and whatnot. Then she opens the next door, and it's this like crazy pink room that's very just throws you off because it's such a different. Most of the show is very grimy and very lived in. This is just this completely pink and heavenly room, and there's just dead people inside. It's just
I thought maybe we were going to see like some type of zombies that we hadn't seen before, and I don't know how else to say that, but that's not exactly accurate. But I wasn't certain whether these were zombies or not until we saw like the one shot of the guy's head, open on the backside. I thought, well, what if these are zombies that have just been sitting here doing nothing, and her commotion is going to wake them up? But they did look a little different. They looked decayed. They didn't look zombie-ish enough, but I wasn't sure. And then when we saw that, the head shot, I was like, oh, geez.
It was a kind of juxtaposition of like that, candy, pastel, pink, and everything, and
Yes.
the suicidal family. It almost reminded me of like the Little Sisters rooms in BioShock, just kind of that weird kind of crazy juxtaposition of like something so pure and just something so horrifying. Good stuff.
Yeah, for sure. It's especially in an episode like this, which I think is, given all the Abraham stuff that we'll get to, like it's more comic-y, it's more comic booky than I think a lot of the other episodes. But this is the kind of stuff that really grounds the show in its kind of dourness that I'm not always like every week we have to see this and it's a little bit of a chore, but sometimes it's like, it's effective for sure. But all right, moving on. While Rick continues to hide under the bed, Len enters the room, disputing Tony's claim of the bed. Len knocks Tony to the ground. Tony spots Rick under the bed during a fight, but he's choked unconscious by Len before he can reveal Rick. Satisfied, Len begins napping in the same bed.
I thought he killed that guy. I thought he just choked him to death.
Yeah, I did too, actually, when he did that.
Yeah, that's what I thought, and then it came back from commercial, and it's like, oh, he's still breathing. But
Did we see him again breathing?
we got another shot of, like, when I think when he was escaping, we got a kind of a shot of him that showed you that he's not dead, he's just unconscious.
Okay.
Or at least
See, I thought
that's what I took from it.
I think
It's the weirdest remake of R. Kelly's Trapped in the Closet ever.
I was thinking that shot we saw of him where we saw him breathing was like him reanimating as a zombie, because we've seen that before when.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did see that.
And obviously later we'll get to it, but zombies are in the house because of certain things that happen. And I'm wondering, I was thinking that maybe I said zombies, maybe it is just zombie. But if we take this guy, on the bedroom floor, it could have been at least 2 zombies in the house because of what we'll talk about here in a little bit, which was a great scene.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with it. I see where you're coming from. From the look of it, it just seemed like he did just kind of choke him out instead of killing him.
I just wasn't sure.
I think it's just more of like, idiot child children just fighting for no reason.
How many of us haven't
choked
choked
each other
someone
out
unconscious because we wanted to sit in the comfy chair?
Come get a sleeper hold.
Boys will be boys. All right. Actually, by the way, I thought of this while I was watching the episode, but then someone actually did make the kind of meme of it. I think Mike Jones posted it on the Walking Dead Facebook page. The kind of Rick under the bed shot, cut with Liam Neeson and Taken saying, "You're about to be taken." Like that.
Yeah, that was
Listen to me very carefully. All right. Moving on. Cutting back to Abraham. On back at Abraham's truck, Glenn wakes up, just wondering what the hell's going on. He bashes the back window until Abraham angrily stops the truck and gets out. Glenn insists on resuming his search for Maggie, but Abraham tells Glenn he is disrupting the mission. Abraham reveals that Dr. Eugene Porter knows what caused the apocalypse, and since his communications with the government officials have been cut, Eugene and the group are on their way to Washington, D.C. Abraham acknowledges Glenn's loss, but he states that every extra body is needed to get to Washington. Glenn doggedly tries to leave again, but after Abraham insists that Maggie is dead, Glenn punches him in the face. Abraham tackles Glenn, and the two brawl. Want to keep going a bit, or want to stop there?
Yeah, keep going.
Okay,
I mean, it's just like one sequence.
Yeah. While Tara and Rosita try to stop the fight, Eugene spots walkers emerging from the withered fields surrounding the road. Clearly unfamiliar with an assault rifle, he fumbles and sprays the truck with bullets, rupturing the fuel tank. The group then one of those classics. Oh, Eugene.
Eugene.
The group regains focus with the sounds of gunfire, and together they eliminate the walker horde. After which Glenn and Tara set out to find Maggie. With the truck out of commission, Rosita follows, and Eugene convinces Abraham to go along for the time being until they can find a replacement vehicle.
All right, I have a few things.
Yeah.
Obviously, the three of us and comic book readers who are caught up know where this is going.
Yeah.
We have some idea of where these characters are going. I wish I didn't, because I think I'm trying to say it without giving away anything at all. But I think what happens to these characters, at least one of them, I won't even specify male or female. I was surprised when it happened in the comic, and I wish that I didn't know that was a possibility, because I'm always going to be wondering if it's going to happen, when it's going to happen.
I can say that
how it's going to happen.
But to be fair, I mean, you don't know that it's going to happen. I mean, these stories are different enough that, I mean,
this is true.
This is like I keep saying, for comic book heads out there, this is like the Earth 2 Walking Dead. This is like an alternate timeline. I mean, you don't know that that's going to happen that way to that person at that time.
But I'm obsessed with the idea that it's possible, and so the curiosity gets a bit overwhelming sometimes. Like, I wonder when we're going to find out this, or I wonder when this is going to happen. And all I'm saying is that I wish I could just watch it. Sometimes I wish I could just watch it without knowing what's going on. Some of my non-comic book reading Walking Dead fan friends come to me and they go, like, especially after this last episode, they said, I don't think this person is what this person seems to be. And I'm like, I'm not going to tell you. And they're like, please tell me. I'm like, no, just watch it. I have an answer, but I'm not going to give it to you. So I kind of wish sometimes that I didn't know squat about it. But then again, knowing a little bit kind of makes you feel like you're a little special.
Yeah, it's not bothersome to me that I at the very least have an idea of where this has to go. And that even comes from based on the show when it's setting in general. This is going to be the most frustrating part for listeners who don't read the comics. But I certainly don't know how things are going to happen, and that's what excites me. I mean, I've watched this entire show so far, and certain things had to happen. Not necessarily certain ways, but certain events had to take place. I know an event's going to have to take place involving these three new characters. That's going to return things to a certain position. And so like I'm excited to see how they go about accomplishing that. Mainly because I like these characters. I like that they're very big and broad and over the top, as opposed to not necessarily complex. None of these characters are really that complex, but just kind of the environments are shaping them as opposed to them just being who they are already and being inserted into the environment. That's what I'm taking from Abe, Rosita, and Eugene. They're just like these big broad characters who are exactly who they are already, and so we'll see how they blend into this world. And I like that. I like Eugene's weirdness. I like Abraham's very upfront manliness. And
I thought Eugene was like, I was like, is this guy a robot? Because he looked like a Terminator. He would stand there and his head would just swivel to the left like he's looking, and then it would swivel 180 degrees to the right like he was looking. He was just standing there doing nothing while all this nonsense was going on, the fighting and whatnot. He just standing there like, really? And then later, when they started to follow Rosita, he's like, trust me, I'm smarter than you. I was like, seriously, you just killed the truck, and you're gonna say you're smarter than him?
it's really silly.
Yeah.
He went to the Andrea School of Shooting.
Yeah.
And honestly, this guy who like, he's presumably been following along with Abraham for a good time now. Like he should know not to just start spraying bullets all over a truck. God. But I like that. I like how silly this kind of stuff is. Where you have like Rosita wearing hot pants and Abraham being this just big manly guy and Eugene just being weird. Like those things they're an element of fun that you don't see on the show very often. Everything's serious all the time, which obviously needs to be because it's The Walking Dead. It's about the world's ruled by the undead, and like things are going to get better and all of a sudden. So
how many of us know somebody in real life where we'll meet him for the first time, or we've known him for a week or something, and we go, is this guy for real? Is he putting me on? Is he doing a bit, or is this really him?
Yeah.
You know,
I
so
thought it was pretty funny. I think I read it at the end of your review, Aaron. It was like, who wears short shorts? Rosita wears short shorts, definitely.
It's hot Atlanta. I can see why.
It gets warm down there.
When you got Abe in your driver's seat, like you're fine. You can wear that.
these three are some of the most faithfully translated visually characters. I said that backwards. Most faithful visually translated characters from the comic, and it was very cool seeing that.
Yeah, it's nice to see the show kind of embrace it head on for a change, not just kind of homage it or do what they can. And I mean, we like the show in general, obviously. So.
Oh, here it is on our podcast Facebook page. Mm-hmm. Mike Jones posted a picture of Eugene from the comic, and his haircut says "Signs up front, party in the back." That was good. I like it.
Nice.
All right, so moving on. Wait, that whole fight scene again is really silly. Talk about my wife that way. All right, moving on back to the serious stuff. With Len asleep and Tony unconscious, Rick gingerly eases out from under the bed. Just as he clears the room, excited shouts "Wake Len!" The group has discovered Michonne's old, freshly laundered shirt as the men declare claims on the women and prepare an ambush. Rick darts into a washroom, surprising a third survivor who is using the toilet with his pants on. I noticed. In the ensuing scuffle, Rick strangles him and loots the submachine gun and jacket. He then climbs through the window and down the roof. Rick is preparing to kill the porch lookout before he spots the approaching Michonne and Carl. When commotion and gunfire erupt in the house from like the reanimation of the man Rick killed in the bathroom, the lookout then leaves. Rick sprints towards Michonne's and directs them away from the house. So yeah, this just continues on with what we already liked about the under the bed sequence. I mean, it's just Rick. The focus is completely on Rick. It's really tense. He finally gets to the bathroom. There's a surprise there. He has to kill a guy, which is not great, but greater good or survival, whatnot. And
I really like you were mentioning before. I really like the way it was from Rick's point of view. There weren't any other camera shots from around the house really, which is all Rick working his way out. It reminded me very much of like a stealth video game too. You know what I mean? Where he had to make his way through and not be spotted, and then sometimes you find a surprise like somebody on the John or whatever that you have to kill in the cell or whatever. But I really like the sequence a lot.
Yeah, and it's the kind of thing that I wouldn't say this is Rick at his best, just because it's completely wordless. And I do think Andrew Lincoln's up to the task of taking on some of the speechifying that Rick's known to do. But it is nice to see just Rick in action to an extent, where he's doing things that are completely physical that don't require him to kind of give a big talk to why we need to work together, like any of that nonsense. It's just more of he needs to get out of the situation, and he's good at that. And the show relies on his kind of physical ability to escape a situation with the least amount of violence possible. Which there was some, because there was death involved. But I mean, it's not him trying to work things out with words. You're trying to work him out of a room using stealth abilities.
Right.
I forget who it was I was talking to. It might be my younger daughter, my almost 15-year-old. She over the last couple of weeks she binge watched the first 3 seasons on Netflix.
Wow.
Yeah, and she's like obsessed with it now. And then I let her see all the current episodes to catch her up. And then she actually watched this episode we're talking about. She watched it when it aired. So now she's current and she's all happy about it. She changed her Facebook cover photo to Walking Dead something or another. But anyway, she goes, I don't understand why these people pick that house. There's all these houses to go in. Why did they pick the one that Rick was in? And I'm like, well, Rick picked it originally. Why wouldn't somebody else pick it? Maybe it looked safe, maybe it looked clean. Who knows? But she just had a problem with there's so many houses in that neighborhood. Why'd they have to come in and mess up what Rick had? She's thinking of it, from Rick's point of view, and the 3 of us and listeners and older folks, we tend to think of it, story-wise or TV-wise. I don't know how else to say that, but she's like putting herself in Rick's position, and it would have upset her, so she's upset that it happened.
That's what it amounts to. I mean, it's a TV show. That's why it happened. Like, sure, something needed to happen, and that's what happened. I mean, yeah, that's an easy way to respond. But I mean, that's what it comes down to. And I mean, if you want to really, the answer to that question is also just like the 6-hour version of this episode, where you just see them walking house to house and finding nothing, and they finally find this house, and they decide to settle in. Like that's.
Yeah, and unfortunately, that is the answer to most of the questions. Why did this happen? Well, because it's TV.
Oh,
yeah. When the show came back from hiatus, my friend Kevin watched the one with Carl, Rick, and Michonne. He said, I was bored silly. I was bored to tears. That was the dumbest episode ever. I'm like, dude, they can't all be like bloodbaths and zombies. He's like, why not? I said, for one thing, it's too expensive to do that every episode. And he's like, well, yeah, I guess I can see
It'd be kind of boring too. I think if it was what we had every week.
Yeah.
And also, I mean, if you really want to get specific, Rick and Carl walked up to that house because that was the first house that they found from the position they entered that town in. That was clear enough to be a house to stay in. So if the same group of people came in the same way they came in, that could be the first house that they found that was acceptable to stay in.
Yeah, and that's what I was trying to tell her. It's like Rick picked it. Why wouldn't somebody else? So we see the Sanctuary for All, Community for All sign again. Oh, I'm sorry, just kind of jumped the gun. You hadn't talked about that last tag. Go ahead and talk about that.
Just one last thing. We see the guy that's looking out on the porch, and that's not like a huge actor or anything, but it is an actor I recognize. He's been in a lot of like TV series and stuff. He's like a character actor. So
that's the one with the tennis ball, right?
Yeah, that guy. And it clues me in on the fact that you're not just gonna have him once and never see him again. So we're likely gonna see this group down the line again. I feel. But, we'll see.
We might.
It's a big guess, but I mean, it's the kind of thing where they wouldn't really, given that they spend so much time not showing us these people, I don't think they'd spend enough time showing them just enough, and casting someone that I do recognize from other things to just not have them ever show it ever again. So who knows? They don't completely way off and just have got a deal. I don't know. But given the Shoney's drama, that could be a source of it. So we'll see. Anyway, so moving on. Glenn and company, they're backtracking to the prison bus site, hopefully to get a sense of where Maggie is gone. And we kind of get a little bit of conversation with Tara and Abraham about Tara being a good person, and if Abraham's a good person, and curious to see where that goes. Meanwhile, Rick's party follows the train tracks, and they resolve to take the directions of a sign declaring sanctuary for all, community for all, those who arrive survive. And that's of course the same sign that Tyrese and Carol and their group saw last week where they're heading. So our groups are slowly finding their way back to each other.
I kind of got a sense that Rick didn't want to have to make a decision to go there until he found everybody else in his group. He's like, he was struggling. Do we go here and possibly get protection, or do we try to find our other group? You feel some obligation to and they're a family now, so you feel obligation to find your family to get back with them. But then again, you've got this place that sounds great. I would hate it to have had to have made that decision.
It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out, what happens when they all get back together. I mean, imagine what do you think, by the end of the season, they'll arrive in Terminus?
I bet it happens before the end.
Yeah, I feel like we have at least 2 more, maybe at most 2, but maybe 1 more episode of just, because next one seems to be focused on like Daryl and Beth again, Dream Team, and
the Dream Team.
Yeah, so I wouldn't imagine that's just going to be solely focused on them. So I feel
we could start calling them Death.
Death,
like Bennifer.
Team Death.
Yeah,
Team Death. Got it. All right.
Daryl.
Or what? Barrel.
The rolling barrel. Got it.
I'll tell you what, I'll shoot these zombies with a crossbow, and you can sing at them.
But yeah, I mean, I think at most we'll have 2 more episodes that would focus on them, not all together, or at least not mostly together, and then we'll probably arrive at Terminus. But we'll see.
I wonder if Terminus is another name for something that readers are familiar with, and I can't get more specific than that.
Right.
Yeah, I think
it could be. I mean,
it could go either way, honestly. Like, I mean,
it sounds and feels a bit familiar.
Yeah.
Just the possibilities feel. I just sense something that could happen.
Well, we'll see. I mean, like I said, there are always a lot of differences between what is in the comic and what is in the show, and I mean, it's a little too early, I think, to make a judgment call like that. So we'll see how it plays out.
But it's fun to speculate.
Oh, it is. Hopefully, it makes for good podcasting.
For sure, yeah. And I mean, like the first season ended on the CDC, and that was something that never happened in the comics.
Well, I mean, this is the first time with Abraham and Eugene that there's even been a hint of the bigger story of what caused the zombie outbreak and everything since that episode, with No American and the CDC.
Very true, and it's interesting to see how that kind of plays into the show now and again, given that I think, not even as a comic reader, but just as like a zombie fan in general, it's never really the cure or the grand situation that gets me excited about this kind of media, this kind of genre involving zombies. It's the characters involved in the story they're going through. So with the exception of something like World War Z, for example, in terms of the book and the movie, I mean, which attacks on like a global pandemic type level, zombie stories tend to be very fairly closed off. So
I really enjoyed that. We interviewed Jonathan Maberry like about a year ago for the podcast, and he wrote a book called Dead of Night, and it was pretty much like the origin. Like the entire book was about the origin of the zombie outbreak, and I thought that was a cool take on it. Because usually, you just get plot scraps here and there, like we see here.
And again, I wouldn't say I necessarily expect the show to attack the virus full scale in terms of like we need to really center on this aspect of the show now. But I mean, if they continue to try and take it, every now and then bring up that element, especially when you have this kind of Abraham, Eugene, Rosita plotline involving them on a mission to go to Washington and deal with the answer, I'll be curious to see how the show handles that. So yeah, that is the end of the episode. So let's get to our Buster ratings for the episode Claimed, and I'll go last this week since I've been talking about it the whole time. So we'll start with Brad. Brad, what was your Buster rating for Claimed?
I really liked it a lot. I'm gonna give it a solid 4. I don't know what else I could say, any other more praise I could give to it than I've already have, but I wasn't dead. Like I said, I was white knuckled at times, and I love feeling that way while watching the show. I really liked the 3 new characters, seeing them, getting to know a little bit about them. There was a lot in this episode for me, so I'm definitely giving it a solid 4. I liked it.
Jim?
I give it a 4.5. It's been one of my favorite episodes of the season. I love the stuff with Carl and Michonne. I love the stuff with Rick home alone, as it were, trapped in the closet under the bed. I love the way the whole sequence went down. The whole Abraham Eugene part was great, and we had a lot of action here without a lot of zombie kills this episode. If you think about it, we had a few here and there, but most of the tension was from other humans and just from the scene itself. So I really appreciate that about the episode. 4.5 out of 5 for me this week.
They really filled their quota at the beginning with Abraham getting that one cop with the crowbar and then having to squash his head with the rifle butt. It's like, wow, Abraham's getting jobs done here. I give it a solid 4 as well with Brad on this one. Brad and I, man, we are agreeing up score on this episode.
This is the weirdest show ever.
I love the tension of the Rick sequence. I love the relationship between Carl and Michonne, and I enjoyed the kind of the new presence of Abraham, Rosita, and Eugene. I like their kind of what I'm calling more comic booky add-on to the series so far. It's kind of not necessarily lightening up things, but it's bringing the tone away from being completely dour after most of our people died in the previous couple episodes.
I enjoy the short shorts. I'll go on record as saying that.
Doesn't seem very practical, but who cares?
I mean, it's hot down there.
She's mobile.
It gets hot down there. You should know you live in Texas, for God's sake.
It was like 34 degrees today. It was crazy.
I think our high tomorrow is going to be about 8. So
for Texas, that's in this time of this part of February. That's still pretty cool.
But we had a lot of different.
I'm sorry we're not as north as you guys. That's what makes us all. Our differences make us special.
I'm over in SoCal. It's been 70 degrees outside. I was playing disc golf today. It was awesome.
I didn't know you lived in California.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. I like that Brad always finds out something new about me every time we
Yeah, for the longest time I didn't know you were a black guy.
I know. I
was like, what?
We have a lot of different ratings on the Facebook group. By the way, we have a really active Facebook group. If you want to check it out, the Walking Dead TV podcast on Facebook. We have a lot of really cool people who like to post a lot of really cool things, and they all give us their thoughts on this episode. Brent Jones gives us 3 slow-moving storylines out of 5. Felt like 30 minutes worth of story strung out over 60 minutes, although he did like the Rick scenes. 3.5 punctured gas tanks from Robert Nigro. Carl Hooker, 4.5 crazy cheese cans out of 5. Saran Howard, I really enjoyed the episode. 4.5 out of 5 insane paintings in the hallway. Great character development with Carl and Michonne. I agree. I really like that. Those are the things that really made this episode for me too. 3.9 Kraft Cheddar Easy Cheese Cans out of 5 from Craig DeMonda. Max Silver gives us 4 squirts of crazy cheese out of 5. 3.75 Lonely Tennis Players out of 5. I really enjoyed the POV camera work. That's from Michelle and Betsavega. Blue Card Cake, 4 out of 5 Rotting Corpses and Riotously Pink Rooms. 4 T-Dogs from Philip Hurd. I'm interested in the new characters. I don't think Glenn buys my mission, and neither do I. Nice to get a break from Lizzie Borden's Creep Show.
That was a good line. I like that.
Yeah. 4.5 Muscle Sweeping Weapon Safety Violations out of 5 from Michael Santana. Holy cow, this far into the zombie apocalypse, and Eugene pulls that stunt. Abraham should have worked him over for that being a military man. I've seen Marine recruits have their soul swallowed for nearly muscle sweeping on the rifle range. Newton Knight, 4 out of 5 mullets. He gives it. Durbin gives it 4 mullets out of 5. I enjoyed this episode. My favorite part was how they took the time to focus on the relationship of Carl and Michonne. I've already Santa Maria. I second the motion. It makes this official Buster thread 3.5 Clueless Looters. The Michonne Carl dynamic was a bit hit or miss. Why did Rick give Carl his gun? As we said earlier in the episode, because it's a TV show. Blue Card Cake, 4 out of 5 Rotting Corpses. Kimberly Kreckman. Andrew Lincoln is so consistent with keeping Rick such a believable character. Kudos. And Glenn finally told someone to stick it. Mike Jones, 5 Home Invaders out of 5. Carl Hooker, 4.5 Crazy Cheese Cans out of 5. Great tension building with the looters in the house scene. 4.5 out of 5 Insane Paintings in the hallway. 4 out of 7 Minutes in Heaven locked in the trunk with Daryl. So I guess that'd be a 4 out of 5 from Lisa Gonzalez. 4 out of 5 from Busters from Luke Smith. Love the intense moments with Rick and the Marauders. Hope we see them again. And also, if you're interested, you can get a lot of links from our group. You can link to Aaron's review of the show that's on theyoungfolks.com now, and a lot of pertinent news gets posted there in the Facebook group, and we have a lot of cool discussions about the show and the characters, and it's pretty spoiler free as far as comics. We really don't get too deep into that. So
it's a great place to interact with the fans of the TV show. And I know some of the members of the group actually started another group that is very comic spoiler friendly. So it's a nice way to take that element out of the show's group page, so we can just keep not worrying about spoilers that happen. But yeah, it's fun. Everyone interacts there. I post my reviews there that I do the write-ups for, and we also try to get the Buster threads out there. So
absolutely. So join the fun. It's the Walking Dead TV podcast Facebook group on the Facebooks.
All right, Jim, how about you go into the old sponsors for the show?
Well, thank you for paying our bills this week. DCBService.com. It is your place. It is your connection. It is your pusher man. If you want to find all of your pop culture goodies, that you'll find them at ridiculously reduced prices. 45, 50, 60% off sometimes. This week, one of their big things, 50% off all new DC trades and hardcovers. Do you like Batman? Do you like the Superman? If you want to check out Batman Year One or the Dark Knight Returns or a lot of things you've heard about that you've never checked out before, 50% off all DC DCB Service, all DC trade paperbacks and hardcovers. Also, they have right now another huge discounted deal. Image Comics, people that put out The Walking Dead, 50% off on an Image bundle. You get all the comics that Image is putting out this month at 50% off cover price. That's cheaper than Amazon, and it's cheaper than you're going to find at your local comic book store. Go to their website. It's not just comic books. They also have action figures, t-shirts, hoodies. If you're looking for Walking Dead merch, it's a great place to go. Even if you don't want to read the Walking Dead comics, if you want a cool Michonne hoodie, or if you want a Daryl Dixon action figure of your very own that you can post suggestively on your desk and show off at work, anything you're looking for pop culture wise, you will find it at DCB Service, and you will find it at a major discount. And if you've gotten into digital comics lately, buy your digital comics through DCB Service and earn rewards toward free comics. So 5% toward your DCB orders for everything you order from Comixology, which is a cool deal because I get my comics from Comixology, and it's just like they're giving me free money for getting the comics I get anyway. So DCBService.com, check them out for all your pop culture needs, your Walking Dead needs, anything like that. But don't ask them to make you dinner because they don't do that.
All right, so thanks for that, Jim. That's going to do it for this main part of the Walking Dead TV podcast. Stay tuned, and we'll detail the overview of the next episode really quick. The brief preview it has there for people that don't want to be spoiled on that. Just here's some last details. Of course, you can find all the episodes of the Walking Dead TV podcast at hhwld.com, along with the many other shows there, including the Long Box of Doom, Half Hour Wasted, Out Now There and Dave, Interpod Greencast, Jersey Shore, Shaken Not Stir. This is me trying to remember every show offhand.
It's crazy how much we do. Yeah. I mean, thank God we're multi-millionaire moguls from doing it, or else we wouldn't be able to do it all, right, guys?
And of course, there's the Facebook page that we talked about, facebook.com, the Walking Dead TV podcast, that you can just search that and find it. Or you can find us Twitter, twitter.com/WDTV podcast. I believe we're all on Twitter as well. I'm at Aaron's PS4, Jim.
I'm at Yoda Jones.
Fred?
I'm at Brad Milo. It's Milyo. I want to remind people about our network voicemail line. It's 972-798-3830. You can leave a voice message for any of the shows on our network. If you want to leave one for WDTV, do so, and let us know up front that it's for the Walking Dead TV show, TV podcast, and we'll make sure it gets to the right people.
Great. Jim, any other plugs you want to throw in there?
Just wanted to let everybody know if you love movies, check out HHWLOD Podcast Network over the next few weeks. We're going to be doing our 20 favorite movies project over all of our shows. We did a thing where we collated everyone's 20 favorite movies and made a huge master list, and we're going to spin out a whole bunch of shows about that out of that. So check that out in the next few weeks.
Awesome. And of course, I write written reviews for The Walking Dead every week as well. That's over at theyoungfolks.com, so you can check over there, and I post them on the Facebook page as well. So yeah, that's going to do it for this episode. Jim, parting words?
Since Jordan isn't here, it's left to me. When there's no more in hell and the dead walk the earth, remember, crazy cheese is forever.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
And next week, real quick, the episode 12 is called Still, and the description is as follows. Faced with the day-to-day survival of life outside shelter, a simple request by someone in the group leads to a bizarre but enlightening mission.
Wow.
Yeah, oh my god. So many spoilers. That one.
Something interesting I noticed that David Esquire is going to be directing an episode.
Yeah, he's lurking in the finale. Yeah.
For real?
Yeah.
That's awesome. It's fantastic. Tell
Anyway.
people who he is, for those that don't know.
David Esquire is responsible for a lot of the various comic media that turned into movies, including having a co-hand in the screenplays for the Dark Knight trilogy, the Blade films,
Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D.,
Nick
David
Fury,
Hasselhoff.
some of the Ghost Writers. I believe he had a story credit in there. He's done work on the Flash Forward, that show. I think he has another show, Vince's Demons, currently on Stars right now. Like, he's a big geek. He's known for writing a lot of geek properties.
Yeah, he definitely has the sensibility to direct an episode of the show.
Mm-hmm. All right, so with that completely unrelated news, I'm out of the way. Thanks for listening, and have a good week, everybody.